live. Let's go ahead and assume that I am. Basically, I'm going to be starting to do lives, both here on X, if you're on X/Twitter right now, and then on other platforms moving forward. The idea is to be able to restream. I'm using an app called Restream.io onto multiple platforms all at the same time. The reason I'm starting to do lives is that all of the different platforms, so we're talking X, we're talking TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of them are pushing live video right now. They want to get more people using live video, and the promise, this is what they're saying at least, is that by doing live video, you're also going to push the algorithm for the rest of your account. So even though I every day write a 1,500 word newsletter plus shoot 3 to 5 short videos, I am adding to my workload by starting to do a live show. I'm hoping that this is recording. Apparently 5 people are watching. I have no idea where you are or who you are because I'm using Restream.io. I think if you send messages, whether you're in X or YouTube, then they will be sent to me. Again, this is a total test. This is a first ever live stream to see what happens. I'm hoping that in a year's time, I'll be able to look back at this first live stream and think, what the hell was he doing? I don't even know if I can swear on lives. If you go back and look at the first videos that Gary Vaynerchuk did, for example, they're terrible. But what Gary did was he kept doing them for over a decade and they got better and better. So in that same philosophy, in that same spirit, I'm going to start doing these lives and then work out the formatting as we go. What I'm going to do is basically do a few minutes of announcements. Then I'm going to do some AI news, so covering some of the top stories. I'm only going to cover the stuff that is most relevant to businesses because AI news as a whole is a massive topic. That's not my specialty. Instead, what I focus on is helping people relay that news and those updates in AI into the business world and how it affects them in terms of starting and growing businesses. So that will be the first segment. And then what I'm going to do is run through today's newsletter. So every single day a newsletter comes out. The last one published about 4 hours ago. So I'm just going to give a quick overview and some extra thoughts in the live. So that is the current format at the moment. That will change depending on feedback, depending on what I find enjoyable as well. Maybe we'll bring in guests later, but right now this is all, it's all up for grabs. And hopefully my laptop will be okay. It's already starting to steam, but we'll do what we can. So yeah, that's the purpose for doing lives. Again, this is slightly mad. So writing, shooting videos, and now doing a live every single day. That is the plan, but we will see how it goes. And hell, we're only here once, yeah? So I'll just keep working. The first big announcement I want to do is I've published a book. This might be backwards for you, but you can probably read it. So Start a Business with ChatGPT by Kyle Balmer. As you can see, it's actually quite a chunky book. I have a bunch of them here, so I can take up a whole bookshelf for them. I was actually thinking about taking them into a bookshop and hiding them, but that's another thing. This is over 300 pages. It's not your normally if you buy a ChatGPT book on Amazon, it tends to be copy-paste ChatGPT prompts that ChatGPT has created. It's trash, basically. There's no purpose. This is a lot more in-depth, so it's kind of hard for me to show you, but you can see it's also worked examples and actual business strategies. So how you would go about deploying something. So this is blog post creation, for example. It talks about why you would want to create blog posts, how you should use AI in the creation of blog posts, how you shouldn't rely on AI, but instead work it into your workflow, and generally going into more depth about integrating AI into your business rather than just giving you a blog prompt, which is, hey, ChatGPT, write me a blog post. The reason I'm talking to you about this now is that today and tomorrow, so Monday and Tuesday, the 18th and 19th of March, I've reduced the price of this on Amazon to get it into as many hands as possible. So normally it's, I forget the normal price, but it's now on Amazon USA, it's going to be $1. And on Amazon UK, so here in Britain, it's going to be £1. That's the Kindle version. Unfortunately, I can't discount this because this still costs me money to print. So I'm doing print on demand. So whenever somebody orders, Amazon actually prints this off, all these pages, packages it up and sends it to you. So that still costs money. So it's hard for me to discount it to £1 because then I would be losing, I don't know, £5-6. So I can't do that. But the Kindle version is going to be $1 or £1 for today and tomorrow. The best thing to do is just to Google "Start a Business with ChatGPT" by Kyle Barmer. That's me. Got my little picture here. And that's going to give you the direct thing, and you should be able to get the Kindle version for £1 or $1. So that's only for today and tomorrow. Don't worry, I'm not going to start all of these lives with a sales notice. That's not really my style, but I figured I would mention it while it's cheap. Okay, so I'm going to jump in and talk about probably the most important news in the last couple of days. One of the problems in working in the AI sector is it's very hard to take any time off. So last week I tried to take a holiday. It was my birthday, but there's constant news. There's constantly news, stuff happening. The last time I took a holiday was when Sam Altman got kicked out of OpenAI. So that was also something I had to cover, even though I'd just gone on holiday. So what I want to show you today is, I'm going to pull this up. That should be visible. This is from The Rundown. If you are not subscribed to The Rundown, it's by Rowan Chung. Let me put it up here. There's Rowan. There he is, looking handsome. The Rundown.ai is hands down the best source of AI news. So I would subscribe to that. So this is the big news I want to talk to you about. It's Elon Musk's XAI has open sourced Grok. So Grok, if you haven't heard about it, is Elon Musk's AI basically, and the company name is AI company is XAI. It's a bit confusing because we have X as well, but here we go. So XAI created a model called Grok. And Grok has been available for people who are on the premium version of Twitter or the premium version of X. It is not available here in the UK, annoyingly, but I have tested it out when I was traveling in Europe, when I was giving workshops and teaching over there. I managed to get my hands on and actually use it properly. You can also use a VPN to change your location and then get access as well. The actual program, Grok, the actual AI or large language model is not very good. There's no way around this, basically. It's a bit of a novelty. It's a toy. And it's fun because it has been trained on the huge database that is Twitter. So there's got a lot of information in there. But what people were mainly using it for was to roast their profiles or to shitpost or to kind of tease other people on Twitter. It was a very kind of narrow use case. And it was mainly people in AI who were using it to take the mickey out of other people in AI or to shitpost about themselves. It was a very limited use case, and nobody really found a valid use for it. So for that reason, there was a bit of buzz when it first came out. This would have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. There was a bit of buzz, and then it kind of died off, and nobody really talks about it. Why we're talking about it again is Grok has just been released under an open source license. So a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk actually sued OpenAI, saying that OpenAI and Microsoft were getting too close and they were working together, and there was a threat of a monopoly. And that OpenAI and Microsoft were just doing AI for profit. And he thought that Elon Musk thought that it was against the founding principles of OpenAI, which was literally to be open, to bring AI to everybody. Very early on, Musk was involved in OpenAI. There's a great photo of him donating it's either GPUs or a computer. He helped them years ago getting their first processing power. There's a wonderful photo of him with a very young Sam Altman. But since then, Microsoft has been the main supporter of OpenAI. So Microsoft own 49% of OpenAI. So not the controlling stake, but a very large stake. OpenAI's main chatbot, so the main model, ChatGPT, is built on Microsoft Azure servers. So you can think of it as a sandwich. You have Azure sitting at the bottom. That's the kind of cloud computing and the supercomputers. Then on top of that, you have ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's large language model. And then on top of that, you actually have Microsoft's Copilot. So Copilot is built off ChatGPT. So Microsoft and OpenAI are very close. They're very interlinked. And I think Musk saw this and he thought, they're really running away with it. There's a potential for anti-competition here. There's no real other competitors in the market right now. So I'm going to sue them. I'm sure there are many other reasons for this as well. But honestly, Microsoft and OpenAI right now, the AI game is theirs to lose. Google have released a few models. None of them have been very exciting. Apple, I think there's some more news. Apple have been purchasing models, but there's now talk, I don't think it's in this issue, there's now talk of Apple working alongside Google. So what we might see is an Apple-Google conglomerate, with Google's Gemini being put inside iPhones on one side, and then on the other side we'll have a Microsoft OpenAI conglomerate. So that looks like where the battle lines are being drawn. That means that Musk and his XAI and their model Grok doesn't really fall anywhere. It kind of falls outside of the big barriers. So part of the reason that I was a bit mean, I was uncharitable when I did a video about this a few weeks ago. I was saying that part of the reason why Elon Musk is probably suing OpenAI is that his model is not very good, and he can see Microsoft and OpenAI running off with the competition and his model and his AI being left in the dirt, because he was developing an AI and it wasn't as good, basically. So there might have been some ego in play. One of the big criticisms pointed at Musk was that his model, Grok, was not open source. So how can he blame OpenAI and Microsoft for not open sourcing, not opening up their model? So yesterday, Elon Musk and AI have released the model, basically. It's a couple of 100 gigs, I believe. I downloaded it on my other computer, I think 200 gigs. So it's a pretty big data set. But here we are. It's a mixture of experts model with only 25% of its weights active for any given input token to enable more efficient computation. That's technical. You don't need to worry about that as a business owner. So here we are. The release model is the raw pre-trained checkpoint, from October 2023, not fine-tuned. So basically, it's the big wide model, and then you can fine-tune it to your own applications as required. So they're giving you the raw data. And XAI has provided instructions on its GitHub repo for developers to get started, and also publishing the model on Hugging Face. I did not realize that. That's really good. So they're making sure that as many developers as possible can get their hands on it and then build things using the model. And then you go, why it matters. Rowan, this is why you should read the rundown, because Rowan is able to give you the news and then give you why it matters to you. So by open sourcing one of the world's largest LLMs, large language models, XAI is walking the walk in Musk's perceived moral battle against OpenAI's closed models. So OpenAI own ChatGPT. Currently their model is closed. You cannot see how it works. And one of the reasons why Musk was suing them was because it's closed and it's not in the public's interest, whereas an open source model like XAI's Grok, as of yesterday, is more in the public interest because it can be used by anybody. So while Grok's capabilities don't break any new barriers yet, as I was saying, I was not that impressed with Grok. I don't think anyone was. The move is another big win for collaborative and transparent AI development. Absolutely agree. So how AI is developing, it could become a very democratizing technology that will decrease wealth disparities, because it will allow people to develop and deploy their own AIs and to become more productive. Or moving forward, we could see the conglomerates and nation states, so conglomerates like Microsoft and OpenAI, controlling this technology because it's closed source, and then running off with it, and the wealth disparities between conglomerates and corporations like Microsoft and everyday people, the human population, increasing rather than decreasing. So over the last 100 years or so, wealth disparities have been increasing, and AI could be the fix for that, potentially, or it could make it even worse. So that is the fight we're going on for at the moment. If we have OpenAI, if we have open source models, then it's more likely that normal people will be able to build something of value rather than it just being Microsoft and the giant corporations. Okay, so that's the big news for today. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if anyone actually builds on Grok. This is going to be the real key. If the model is not good enough or the training data is not useful, then building on it is not valuable. So right now, a lot of people build using ChatGPT's API because it's a good model. Basically, it's one of the best models and it's cost effective to build on. There is some competition from people like Anthropic who have Claude, and they have a new model, which is great. But right now, the one to beat is OpenAI. So that's the main news for today. What I now want to switch to is the newsletter. So this came out 4.5 hours ago. You can go and get it for free on the blog. So it's promptentrepreneur.beehive.com. Let me put it back so you can see the whole archive here. Every single day, if you're not part of my newsletter, I write about 1,000+ words on AI. These are very detailed guides. It's not just, again, it's not just here's the ChatGPT prompt, but here's how this ChatGPT prompt fits into your business, whether you're starting a business or you're trying to grow something. Just check if I'm getting any comments because I don't know how this works. Here we go. Nice eyebrows, Alex. My God, the eyebrows. So I've just started on TikTok a few weeks ago, and I've just hit 40,000 followers as of today. I can't believe he's done that. Nice eyebrows. One of the big things on TikTok, I had one video go to, I think 3.2 million views, like really went for it. About 10% of the comments were about my eyebrows, just saying, you have great eyebrows. How did you get your eyebrows? How can I make my eyebrows like that? I had no idea I had I had great eyebrows. Oh, Alex is saying, see you in Vegas at the poker table. That's a reference to, what's it called? Imagine Live. I should put it up. Imagine AI, which is, I think, next week. I was invited. I am not able to make it, unfortunately. Yeah, but I'm hoping to get over to Vegas in January for another training conference. But yeah, not making it this time, I'm afraid. It's a shame. Put that down. I'm going to get rid of the stuff about my eyebrows. So yeah, coming back to just faffing with this. I've got OBS open. That's not helpful. I need some more screens, obviously. There we go. Come back to the newsletter. This newsletter comes out every single day. It's about 1,000 words, so it's a big, in-depth newsletter. There are some plans to shift away from writing this huge newsletter, mainly because, one, it takes me half a day, and I can't show you my laptop, but I've bust off several keycaps because I've just been writing so hard for the last 6 months. And two, potentially replacing it with live shows like this if there's an uptake in people who are interested in this. Apparently 40 people are watching right now, which is kind of cool. I was expecting 0, so that's a bit nerve-wracking. Yeah, so potentially transitioning from once a day newsletter to once a week and replacing it with live shows like this because, well, one, it takes a huge amount of time, and two, people don't necessarily have time to read 1,000 words per day. It's just a lot to read, which I absolutely get. So for now, I'm going to cover this one. This is what I'm covering all week, and it's based on this book, which you can hopefully see. Yeah, there we go. So this book is by Marcus Sheridan, and it's called They Ask You Answer. I'm taking this basic idea and running with it all through the week. If you run a business, then one of the best ways that you can build an audience and one of the best ways that you can become known, liked, and trust is by answering questions from your potential customers. So this works on many platforms. It can either be, face-to-face, people come and ask you questions at events or literally one-to-one. It can also be on social media. So taking questions from people and answering them, you become an authority in the space because you're able to answer their queries. And it also works really well on your website because a lot of times when people are searching for things on Google, they are looking for answers to their questions. Google is a problem-solving engine. So if you've got blog articles where you answer questions, they tend to do very well on Google. And in fact, they even appear in the featured snippets at the top of Google if you have a really good answer and Google has identified that. So using your knowledge and your expertise in a particular domain is a really powerful way to build up an audience, and that's what I'm covering all this week in this guide. It's called Prompt Playbook Q&A Content Marketing Part 1. So over the week, we've got questionable content. That was the issue that came out today. Tomorrow is They Ask You Answer. Wednesday is going to be Time for Answers. Thursday is RIP Yahoo Answers, and Friday is Q&A All Aboard Us. So the basic idea is over the week, I'm going to be talking about why answering questions is such a powerful method. That's covered in today's newsletter. Tomorrow is going to be about how we collect questions, so how we collate them from the internet. This is very easy when you already have an audience because they're always asking you questions. So all you have to do is make videos or write articles about those questions, given your answer. But I'm going to show you tomorrow how you kickstart that process by using tools like Answer the Public, which can generate huge amounts of questions for you to get started with. Wednesday is going to be Time for Answers, where I'm going to be talking about how you actually answer. My big recommendation, this is a bit of a spoiler, but you use short video. People don't like to read. They much prefer to get a video. And if you can keep the video at a minute or under, you're going to be able to deliver that information far more succinctly and people will actually watch it. Part 4 is RIP Yahoo Answers. That's where I'm actually going to be talking about the SEO impact of using this methodology. So answering questions and how you can build that into your website in order to rank better on Google. And then part 5 is about scaling it up. So it's about getting questions off the back of your content. So once you've published content where you're asking questions, you're going to elicit more questions from people, and then that allows you to scale up. So once you have a video out there that has 3 million views, like I had 2 weeks ago, you get hundreds of questions. You answer those questions, and then on each of those videos, you're going to get another 100 questions, and it's just going to scale from there. And it's about how you control that process in order to continue. All of this is being leveraged by AI, but it's not using AI to replace us. It's instead using AI to automate certain parts of it, and then to use ourselves, the human self, in the bits that make sense for us to be. So for example, being in front of a camera like this with all my ums and ers and my terrible lighting that's coming through the side and the roadworks that were just outside, that is the thing that makes it more human and it builds more connection. The AI cannot do yet. Maybe AI will be able to fake that later, but right now, this gives you an advantage. Just stick in your face, whatever your face looks like, warts and all, out there being authentic. I think this is going to be the comparative advantage that we have against AI moving forward. And we use AI for the legwork in order to free up time so we have more time for this kind of thing, for sitting in front of a camera, for meeting people, for networking, etc. So the newsletter, content. So building an audience, a lot of people forget about this. Building an audience is probably one of the most important things you can do for a business. A lot of people have great ideas, they have amazing products, but it doesn't matter if nobody knows about it. So I have a system called Baton, B-A-T-O-N, that is business, audience, tribe, offer, and network. The second kind of pillar in the Baton system is audience. Business is coming up with your business niche, working out your market and creating something of value. And then the very next step is making sure that the world knows about it. It's building up an audience. Without an audience, it doesn't matter. You could have the best thing in the world, but you don't have distribution, so people don't know about it. A lot of people have this idea of, if I build it, they will come. It's this field of dreams fallacy where just by creating something amazing, the world is going to discover it and come beating down your door to buy it from you. No, it doesn't work. If you don't believe me, look at Tebow. Tebow created, oh God, so many things. Hype for you, not Hype for you. Sorry, Tebow. Tweet Hunter, not Hype for you. That's his competitor. Tweet Hunter and a whole bunch of other really good products. So he's saying, look, the real challenge here is distribution. it's just because you have a good product doesn't mean you're going to make any money. It's having a good product first. Absolutely, you need that, but then you need to build an audience off the back of that product in order to sell anything at all. So you need to have an audience. The most effective type of audience building for a business tends to be, well, it's not going to be based on dancing and being weird or playing games like an influencer, for example. One exception to that, something like Duolingo, who, if you don't know about Duolingo social media, you should check out. They've managed to become influencers even though they are a business. However, I would say that's an exception to the rule. Generally, if you are a business, you need to be out there providing value and educating people. And by doing that, you're going to start to become liked, known, and trusted by your potential customers just by being the face, being known in your particular domain. That's when opportunities start to open up. And using your personal brand right now rather than a corporate brand is extremely powerful. And again, with the rise of AI, it's going to become even more powerful because AI will not take what is you from you. So lean into you and be authentic, be on camera, write, be yourself, do not be corporate, because that can be automated. So here we go. Oh, there's a graph. My business partner, who I think might be watching from Malaysia right now, he does these hand-drawn graphs because there we go. This is my handwriting. It's unintelligible. So I write the newsletter and then he will draw these little graphs like this, and it's always a nice surprise to me when I see them. So as a business owner, the best way to build trust is by educating people. So here we go. You become known first, then you become an expert, then you become the authority. Think of someone like Neil Patel in the SEO space. When you think of SEO, you automatically think of people like Neil Patel. He is the authority. And I just found out from my business partner, we were just chatting about this on WhatsApp. Apparently, let me put it up because it was such an immense amount of money that I've forgotten it already. He's probably texting me about it now. So Jesus Christ. So Neil Patel he was just on the My First Million podcaster, and his personal monthly expense is $180,000 per month on round-the-clock driver, full-time staff, jet access, etc. So this is a guy who's become the authority in a space. He just owns that space. That's where you want to get, really. Oh, and funnily enough, Neil Patel actually owns a company called Answer the Public. He purchased it. And Answer the Public this is a total coincidence. Answer the Public is a tool that lets you find questions that your customers have. And then you answer those in order to build your authority. So Neil Patel really does believe in this. He's become the authority. He answers questions and he now spends $180,000 a month on his lifestyle. So if you don't believe me, believe Neil Patel. So here we go. Customer trust. By answering questions, the more you answer, the more you're out there, the more you're showing your expertise. You start to become known, you start to become an expert, and then you become authority from there. I had this the other day. I've blanked it out, but I think 2 or 3 days ago, I talked briefly about the EU's new Artificial Intelligence Act. I've skimmed it. It's, I think, 700 pages long. It's very long, but I wanted to look at it in order to pull out some of the most important things for business owners. So I shot a video which was 3 or 4 minutes long, talking about, hey, this is what's included. This is what you need to be aware of. Very short video, very quick for me to make. But from that, I started to get messages like this, which was your recent video summarizing the EU AI Act is so useful. This is a person who had to give a talk, and the AI Act came up at the end of the talk, despite it only being a few days old. So I think people asking questions about it is a bit mean. But she said, definitely not an expert. I've been reading around it. I basically have to give a bit of context to students. Your video and the question asked at the end of it has saved me. So thank you. So this is an example of where I've given some information. I've done a little bit of work doing the research and then putting together my thoughts. And that allows me to become an authority on this particular topic, which, I mean, I know more than most people, but I have not read the whole act. Like, if you, I can't go to the EU to talk about this kind of thing, but I know enough to be able to help people who know nothing about it. And I think that's important. So if you don't think you are an expert in anything, chances are you know more than your customers, you know more than the people you're trying to help, and that's all that matters. There's no need for me to have memorized the whole act. There's no need for me to be able to point to certain sections. I can just, using my expertise, review the articles, review the act itself, and then provide a basic summary of it in 3 to 4 minutes. And that's enough to move me, from here up to becoming known and an expert in a particular region. So you still need to know your stuff, but you don't need to know as much as you may think you do. This works really well, answering questions and being an authority works in B2C. So Marcus Sheridan, in particular, he started using this method to sell swimming pools. So he basically had a website which answered all the questions about installing a swimming pool in your backyard. And he was the first person to do that. At the time, it was revolutionary. So people had questions like, well, how much does it cost to build a pool such and such size with this kind of lining? And he answered all of those questions online, whereas previously businesses would say, oh, that's a great question, give us a call or come to our office, and then they would try to sell you. Instead, he gave away that valuable information. He gave away the answers that people were looking for, and then became the authority based on that generosity. So there we go. The important thing, and this is what I'm going to show you in tomorrow's newsletter, is you find questions that people are already asking. You do not assume, basically, if you're an expert in a particular subject, the kind of questions that you ask about this subject are going to be very different to the questions that your customers are going to ask, because you know more about that particular area, that domain of expertise. So because of that, you need to seek the actual questions that they're asking. Once you have social media going and people are asking you questions, that's fantastic because they are direct questions from actual people. Until then, and this is what I'm going to show you in tomorrow's issue, you can actually use Google and tools like Answer the Public to find out what search queries people are putting in. So these are some examples. How does hair loss happen? How can hair loss be prevented? This is from the example. This has got nothing to do with my hair, by the way. But these are Google searches that come up a lot. And you can get that data from Google, and therefore you know what kind of questions people are asking on aggregate about your particular topic, whether it's AI or hair loss or whatever it is. Google has that data for you, and I'll show you how to put it. And then once you have those questions, you're basically going to answer them. I recommend using short video, as I mentioned before. You could also write blog articles. If you are going to write blog articles, though, I'd still recommend starting with short video, because what you can do is shoot the short video, talk. Most people are better at talking about their expertise like this. It's much, much faster to shoot a video rather than write a blog article. I forget the words per minute, but we speak at several hundred words per minute, which would be very hard to type at that speed. And generally, when somebody asks us a question and we know the answer to it because we're an expert in that particular topic, we're able to talk very fluently, whereas sitting down and writing it, we tend to start self-editing and the whole thing just takes a long time. So I would recommend, regardless of your preference, and I'll be a bit strict here, it's best to start with video and then transcribe that video into text. And then we can ask ChatGPT or Claude to turn that text into a blog article. So always start with this, start with a video. So we answer the questions using a short video, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, doesn't matter, just start wherever. And then we can transcribe that into a video. This is a prompt which appears in the newsletter. Again, you can go directly and find it in the blog, or if you're subscribed, you'll be able to get this anyway. But this is an example. So act as a content strategist. I'm following the methods outlined by Marcus Sheridan. This book, ChatGPT knows about it. In They Ask You Answer, I want to integrate answering customer questions into my content marketing in order to build authority and trust with customers. My business is, boop, and then you give as many details of your business as possible. My customers are, boop, you give details about your customer, and the main problems are, this is really important, and then you outline their problems. So for this particular example I did, my business is selling hair loss products. My customers are men who are losing their hair, or haar, because I've done a typo. Their main problems are hair loss. This type because my I'll show it to you. My I key comes off. So as I said, I do this 1,000 word newsletter every single day, and I've blitzed my keyboard, so it's time to get a new keyboard or a new Mac. But until then, I drop my I's and my F's and my H's. All those keys have been busted off. So I put that information into this prompt, and I get this kind of output. ChatGPT gives me a lot more. This is just the first part, but it gave me all the different stages. So awareness, I forget what they are, awareness, problem solving, ready to buy, etc. It gave me the different stages, and then it gave me questions that people might be asking. So awareness of things like, is my hair thinning, or am I just imagining it? Why does hair loss happening? Is hair loss at my age normal, etc.? These might be questions that people who are interested in a hair loss product will be interested in, or will be asking themselves. And then later on, it will be things like, what is the best hair loss product? Where's the best country to go to get hair transplant, etc. There'll be much more buyer focused rather than awareness focused. It's because people are moving from awareness to realization they have a problem to wanting to solve that problem, moving through that chain. And ChatGPT is able to give us all those questions. This is just a starting place. I'd like you to use this prompt in order to start to generate ideas. If you are an expert in the area, whether it's hair loss or AI or whatever your business niche is, as soon as you see these questions, you're like, your creative brain's like, yes, I can answer these, no problem. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's because what XYZ, and you're able to answer these questions. What we're going to do in the second newsletter is I'll give you some other research methods to actually find the exact questions people are asking in aggregate. So ChatGPT will give you ideas, but it doesn't know how many people are asking this. So it doesn't know which of these are the best questions to answer. So that will be what I cover in the next part. There's one other point here. This is quite important. If you see these questions about your niche and you're sitting there looking at the questions and you're thinking, I don't know the answer to any of these, it might be worth rethinking your niche. You need to know your niche and what you need to be able to answer your customers' questions very easily. So if you aren't able to answer the questions that ChatGPT throws up at you, you may not have the expertise required to do well in this particular niche. It's better to know now rather than later once you've developed lots of stuff. So it's better at this audience building stage, but you do need to know your stuff. So this should either be a wake-up call to change niche and find something else, or that you need to learn more. You need to be better at your particular niche. Okay, and then we have the premium prompt. If you have the premium newsletter, that's not on here. And yeah, that is today's newsletter. So again, you can grab it in the blog itself, or if you're if you're subscribed already, like 50,000 other people, entrepreneurs, then you should have received it today. And the next parts are going to be about coming up or researching questions that you can answer, how you actually answer. So walking through the technicals of how best to use your telephone or your camera in order to record step by step, how I do it. How to convert this into SEO content so you can rank better on Google, and then how to scale everything up so you have a constant supply of questions and you can always be answering. So that is tomorrow's or the rest of the week's newsletters. Oh wow, there's 63 of you talking. So this is all very new to me. As I've mentioned, this is my first live stream and we are working out how to do it. This is currently on X and YouTube, and I will be starting to go to TikTok and some other streams moving forward. Hopefully it hasn't been too much of a mess and everything's working. 63 people, that's good. 2 people from YouTube, did not expect that. I'm not very big on YouTube. So that is the end of the show. That has been 38 minutes. I don't know why I'm calling it a show. The stream. Excuse me. I'm going to continue doing these hopefully every day. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to test out different streams, different segments. I'll probably get guests on. So Alex, if you're still watching, I don't know if you are, I'll message you as well. I'd like to get people like yourself on, other experts, so we can talk about AI, we can talk about certain things that will be helpful for our viewers. And we will evolve this. So I will be seeking feedback. I'll be chasing people down and asking what works, what doesn't work, what would you like to see more of? And hopefully we'll make these live streams better and better. I was expecting precisely 0 people would tune in today. So the fact that there are 60 plus or maybe more is surprising and a little terrifying. But here we are. I'm very much always of the school of thought that if you have an idea, you just start it. So I know people who love to plan, but I see planning as a form of procrastination, and it's better just to start and you'll work out what works, what doesn't work, and you'll be able to make changes based on that. Whereas if you're planning, you don't really have any feedback, you don't have any information, so there's no way to get better. In fact, my whole newsletter last week was all about that. It's about the importance of failure and how failure is the only way that you learn. But if everything is successful all the time, there is no learning. So this is exactly this in action. This is just me starting to stream, working it out this morning, giving it a shot and see what happens. As you can tell, I have no idea how to end the stream, so I'm just going to say goodbye and have a great lunch if you are in the UK, and I will see you tomorrow.